But first, I want to say I am so glad to announce we finally have new merch. We have 2 t-shirts, 2 caps, a beanie in 2 colors, and finally, my very own plushie with a little zip-up hoodie. Listen. This drop took ages to make, and it is the most happy I've ever been with any merch I've done ever. Even the website has had a huge overhaul. It looks amazing. Please buy some. I would love your money. Link down in the description. Thank you for your purchase. No, plushie Pyro. Don't take the hoodie off. Now they know what you look like naked. No! There's been many mysteries of the universe that to this day have gone unanswered. Is there life beyond Earth? Will the PlayStation 5 ever get any games? And most importantly, what is Netflix's worst movie? And I'm not talking about some cringy teen romance or kids animated movie. I'm talking about statistically the lowest rated film Netflix currently has on its platform. Most of you would think a more recent release like Resident Evil, a show so bad that they basically axed it without it getting a second season, or Kissing Booth, a film series that's basically Tall Girl without the Tall Girl, which somehow spawned 2 sequels.
What an ass. I know.
You got a little bit of drool right there in the corner.
Right here?
Yeah, you...
Do I really?
Now, I don't want to go too hard on Netflix. They've actually had decent projects, like The Platform I talked about a couple years ago. Something that if you type my name into the Netflix search bar will actually come up with, right next to Breaking Bad. I wonder why. Now, to find the worst film on Netflix, we need a checklist. Firstly, it has to be something Netflix produced or now owns the rights to. So basically, it has to have that little N watermark in the corner. Anything they bought as a timed release doesn't count. And also, I'm not talking about something controversial or divisive. It needs to be something everyone, or at least the mass majority, hated. So I'll be using a combination of Rotten Tomatoes and IMDb. You can argue that they're both not very reliable, but if not that, then I'd have to go onto Reddit and ask there. And I think over there, they're too busy talking about how amazing the new Marvel show was. After days of research, I finally found it. Truly the worst, lowest rated film ever released by Netflix. And its name? Drive.
My boy a pen.
That's right, Ryan Gosling fans. Your film sucks, and even having Walter White in it couldn't save its horrendous rating. I'm joking, of course, instead talking about the Indian film Drive, released in 2019. Now, where the American Drive was an action drama film, the drama being the guy that everyone in their late teens and mid-20s says, OMG, he's literally me, Drive 2019 is instead an action heist film. And believe me, there's loads of action. Like this CGI car that looks like it's from a PS2 game.
Hey, come on over, have some fun with Crazy Taxi!
And if you're down for something more gritty, there's tons of close quarters, hand-to-hand combat. Now, one thing I have to get out of the way, obviously the film is Indian, and there's an entirely different culture in India. One thing you may have noticed with a lot of Indian cinematography is it's way more dramatic. There's loads of memes on YouTube of just showing all these quick pan zoom-ins. And honestly, this film, even though it's a film, not a TV show, is incredibly similar.
What's happened to the system suddenly? Why did all the cameras freeze?
I don't have a driver's license.
I think the opening shot is a great example of the special effects we're going to experience for the ride. A text scroll that looks like it's from Star Wars, the fake nitrous boost coming out the back of the car that disappears in the next shot, only to be greeted by a title that looks like it was made in a Halo 3 Forge map. We're introduced to the big shot leading this racing group, saying it's the final race of the night and the winner will get $500,000.
The winner will take home 500,000.
But it doesn't specify what currency this is. Let's assume it's the Indian rupee, so 500,000 is just over $6,000. They boot up a projector showing the race, and what I love is how it has this racing game HUD on the screen, like the placement of cars and even a mini-map at the bottom right. Like, what car is it going to track? This doesn't make any sense. And if you think I'm milking it with the video game references, please just watch this seamless transition.
This race will start from India Gate, go via Chhatarpur, and end at this warehouse right in front of us. All the best.
We start seeing the race in action, and remember when I mentioned how invasive the cuts can be? Take a shot for every single jump cut here. I'm going to pause it here, but you now have liver cirrhosis and should contact your local doctor. It's probably one of the hardest scenes to follow, especially after the list of cars on the left side of the screen halves for no reason. All to be finished off with an MLG air horn sound.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Even more confusing, when both drivers get out, they're both women. Now, this is meant to be like a bait and switch because you saw the guys driving the cars, but it was actually these women in the race all along. But because it was never communicated to us that this was two different races at the same time, all the audience see is two people transition in the space of 3 minutes. Then there's a huge musical intro called Karma is a Bitch.
Karma's a bitch.
Which I agree with. The fact that I've had to watch this film multiple times from start to finish is the exact price to pay for my sins. After the intro, the film properly starts with some CGI police cars driving through an empty street. Not sure why you couldn't have just got normal cars. If anything, it's probably cheaper, but all right. Getting out of the car is Vibha Singh. Now, she's a corrupt bureaucrat who persuades her clients into giving her the percentages of money which is usually stolen in the first place.
Guess I better find the drop box.
You can tell because every single conversation she has, she mentions a percentage like a YouTuber signing up with Machinima.
Then all I want is a 40% share from you.
Sure, I can give you a 40% share.
Make him pay a 30% fine and 30% tax.
40% is fine with me.
So this is when the plot becomes Evangelion levels of confusing, so I'll try to summarize it. Vibha is corrupt. She has a henchman called Hamid, the one who is beating up that guy for her.
He's already dead.
Vibha is contacted by the Prime Minister's right-hand man, Ifran, who's also corrupt. Ifran explains that a jeweler's had £600 of gold stolen from them, but the thieves messed up the heist, which is shown by one of them not even putting in a number combination on a lock, but just presses the up and OK arrow. But apparently, the thieves did this on purpose because it alerted the jeweler to the break-in and the police. I just love the jeweler has this huge iPad with a 3D render of a safe on it. And just to make things more confusing, another rival gang of thieves shows up to stop the original thief just to have an excuse for this fight scene that has 3 different camera angles. Then the police show up to arrest the original robber, all repeating the exact same sound file of one guy saying hands up.
Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up! Hands up!
Only for the thief to snap his fingers to reveal all the cops were part of his gang all along, with the actual police being diverted elsewhere. I don't even know if I should be angry or not about having about 7 plot twists in a 3-minute montage. This master robber is called the King and leaves a calling card at every robbery telling the police where his next robbery will be. And his robbery for this hit will be the presidential palace. But this brings up like so many questions. If the police always know where he's going to strike, why don't they have any kind of police presence? There was no one waiting for him at the jewelers, and the police must have known that he was going to hit that place next. And also, why does the presidential palace look like it's from a Mortal Kombat cutscene? So you can probably guess this film is going to be a Robin Hood type beat, with the king thief stealing from the rich to give to the poor, or themselves. Mostly because his next hit will be in the palace, and we know that Vibha, who works there, is corrupt. But I don't know, guys. There could be another 4D chess move for the writers here. I mean, the king has a balaclava on. Surely that means he's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Ifran then explains after a heist, he found special tire marks that are used for racing, which leads Hamid to make the motion like he's watching the news with sign language on.
Racing? Street racing.
This comes full circle when Ifram finds out the car tire tracks belong to the girl from the intro race, Tara, who apparently runs a black market company, which then introduces us to her gang. And I'm so happy to mention that Beaky is part of her gang, probably the best character in the whole film.
His name is Beaky. He's a fixer. Be it cars or electronics, he can fix anything. He has only one bad habit. gambling.
I just love how they show him being a fixer, you know, something that can have pretty heavy connotations in the crime world, like being a hitman for hire, but it just shows him fixing a hoverboard and riding it. I assumed he'd be fixing a bum to it or something, but no, he's just doing what every 12-year-old's dream is. Another race starts, which introduces us to Samar, the protagonist for the film. You can tell because even though he lost the race, he's still being cheered on while the poorest CGI I've ever seen in my life plays. Now, while researching the film, I found out that Samar was played by Sushant Singh Rajput, known for his work in Hindi cinema, and appeared in loads of financially successful films like Chichore and Kedarnath. You probably haven't heard of these films because most of my audience is from the West.
Legalized.
He started off at an engineering course before dropping out to pursue theatre and climbing from there. Unfortunately, he died from suicide in June 2020, only 36 years old. This was a huge thing in India because SSR had an enormous following. It even trickled into the Western world with people like PewDiePie covering it 2 years ago. He seemed like a genuinely charismatic and caring person, even admitting himself that he was an introvert and whenever he's outgoing, he's just playing a character. And during a speech he gave in 2016, admitting that he was pretty nervous, which is humbling.
But like right now, as I'm not acting, so there are problems that I'll screw it up. So excuse me if I falter.
SSR was down to earth. He admitted that money wasn't the root cause of happiness, and more importantly, being at the top of the ladder does not bring true happiness. Money and fame is something you'll always be chasing.
I was promised happiness, and I was promised success. But all these things stayed with me just for a few days. And I'm punctuating me because I started from zero money and zero recognition. So I was not happy. How can that it be?
It's honestly so interesting to hear someone who's considered the golden boy of India to be so candid and honest about his experiences, not sugarcoating everything. Now, it might seem disrespectful making fun of this film after mentioning this, but if anything, we're not making fun of SSR, but more how much of a dumpster fire this film would be with or without his involvement. And I think it would have been pretty disrespectful to not include this information because he's the lead of the film and honestly tries the most out of the entire cast. SSR's character, Samar, is a Formula 1 test driver, bragging that he can beat Tara's gang in a street race, being offered a small amount of cash if he wins, but passes a speech check to increase the amount.
Hey, anybody can win a street race by a second, but you, I'm going to beat you by a whole minute. I bet 50,000 on that.
If you're so confident, then why bet for 50,000? Let's make it 500,000.
Another race starts that looks like it was rendered on a PlayStation 2 or Nintendo Switch. But before Samar can win, he's stopped by a checkpoint, and out of all the questions they ask him, it's this.
How drunk are you? Turn off the engine, show me your papers.
You're gonna ask a guy if he's been drinking when he's been driving better than 99% of all professional drivers ever. I don't even think most sober people can make turns and drifts like that, so why ask him if he's been drinking? It looks like he's about to be busted, but he gives the police his car as a gift and they let him go. But unfortunately now, he's double boned because not only does he have to return the car, but also the 500,000 prize money because he technically lost the race.
You owe me. Your sweet ass is mine. Got it?
Is that a camera?
Oh, yeah. We're boned.
Samar instead chooses to hook himself up with a hidden camera to prove to the gang he has the talents to get the car back.
Relax.
Sir, I needed to make an urgent call. My phone battery has died. I need to call my mom. Can I please borrow your phone, sir?
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Here you go.
I'll just take a second. I'll be right here.
That's fine.
Thank
no
you, sir.
problem.
I like how the whole time he's carrying a camera around, probably the size of a GoPro, so everyone back at base can see what he's up to, but no one on the street can seem to notice it except him, despite it looking like he's doing some kind of Casey Neistat YouTube vlog. He uses the cop's phone to call the corrupt cop that took his car, acting like he's the press and he's been busted. Now, how did Samar know the corrupt cop's phone number? No idea. You can even see him put it in himself. But regardless, it spooked the cop so much that he leaves in his car, which he's kept in the front porch of his house, by the way, even though he has no paperwork for it. You'd think with a recently stolen car and as a member of authority, you'd try to be a bit more discreet. He drives the car to the exact place Samar is hiding, leaving the keys inside the ignition so he can just walk a whole 3 yards and yoink the car. I know this film is rated the lowest Netflix original ever, but like, you have to love the plot convenience of this scene. We cut back to Viba and her people trying to find all the gang's details so they can extort them later, which cuts to the traditional Bollywood sliding montage, with some of the clips even slowed down because apparently they were too lazy to do a double take. Reminds me of me making daily commentary videos. Not like I do that anymore. My content has evolved so much. Hold on a minute. We need to support the great country of India.
But how do we do that?
I have an idea. Now, listen up. I've done so many of these ad reads, I need to actually educate you more than soullessly shill a product. How else am I going to be able to afford that Egyptian cotton tally body pillow? Now, does anyone know why cybersecurity is important?
It's like cyberpunk with guns.
No, you idiot! It protects you from online threats. Imagine if you went into a coffee shop. Wait, all of you are too old to drink coffee. All right. Imagine you go into the school cafeteria and you use the public Wi-Fi. You've just joined an open connection without protection. Anything you search will be saved and logged. And now everyone is pointing and laughing at you because Terry in year 5 just exposed that you spent the last 8 hours searching up Hot Lady Roblox and FNAF But Hot compilation. If you used NordVPN/Pyrocynical, you would have been protected. Oh, the travesty. Now, does anyone know what malware is?
Your mom.
Sadly, incorrect. Plus ratio. Malware is short for malicious software. That's right. When you visit sites with low security, there's a chance malware could actually be attached to your PC. Free iPhone 20 for you, sir? Or like, free virus. Nord will now check websites you visit and even scan files you download to make sure you're as secure as possible. Imagine Nord as the big titty goth GF we've all wanted, but could never afford. But now you can, using NordVPN/Pyrocynical, 4 months for free on a 2-year plan, money back guarantee. Wow, so cool. Tara is starting to get suspicious that she's being spied on, and if you couldn't tell through the subtle acting of paranoia, a guy with headphones gets caught instantly and tries to play it off in the least subtle way possible.
Have you seen my iPad anywhere?
No.
We then cut to the inevitable romance subplot where Samar and Tara start flirting with each other. And remember when I said the film is less than subtle? They start dealing cards, and this happens.
Joker?
That is your card, right?
But where did the king go?
Right in front of you.
There's no way Samar can be the king. Impossible. Ignoring the fact the guy earlier was the exact same build and height. Tara's gang fly to Israel with Samar as kind of a holiday to have some time off. And if you look at the B-roll, you could just stick an Airbnb watermark in the corner and you wouldn't know any better. I assume it's to show Samar is getting closer with the gang, but it acts like these people have been together since childhood. But again, like I said, subtlety is not this film's strong suit. And this isn't a quick 1-minute montage either to communicate a time jump. This goes on for a whole 5 minutes. We cut to Viba's group, still trying to track down Tara's ring of smugglers, and have a eureka moment discovering how they've been able to communicate with each other all along and not catch the eye of any cybersecurity or police.
That's why I always delete these messages without even opening them, sir.
How can they predict your future, my little genius? That is in my hands.
That's it. No one ever looks at marketing messages. These people are talking to each other through these random marketing messages. Come on, show me all the messages.
I mean, couldn't they have just used a protected email server, a dark web browser, even dead drops? I feel this is really poorly secure, just banking on the fact that no one clicks a dodgy link. Factor old people into this as well, who basically hand over their entire life savings to a man saying he's a Nigerian prince. And it's amazing how this process has lasted as long as it has. This leads to another montage where a bunch of texts appear. I'm not going to dwell on this too much because you know how much I hate these. It's a lazy way to communicate information. Logan Paul's film did it. I don't need to say anything else. Tara's group then start to get suspicious texts. I assume they are because when she looks at her phone, it's not in English, so I have no idea what anything says apart from getting the top apps of 2019. I really shouldn't have done this, but I ran it through Google Translate, and keep in mind, this is Google Translate, so it's probably not correct at all, but it came back with, the shadow of the infidel eyes has returned the destination. Today the intentions are deep. Now your soul is the only sorrow here, which is the exact same thing you'd hear a LARPer say on Gmod RP. The bad guys intercept the message and translate it into the location of the King's Gold. They also mention that they have an undercover agent working in Tara's gang.
Tell our undercover agent to be ready. No matter how fast they drive to.
Damn, I wonder who that unseen guy is. Surely not the same person with headphones earlier, acting suspiciously.
But this girl isn't gonna trust anyone so easily.
There is one guy who I know can definitely win this girl's trust. Arjun.
Do I even need to say anything? I like how these flashback scenes are seeped in chromatic aberration. It looks like a Tommy Innit thumbnail. Oh yeah, and Samar is the king, by the way. But yeah, I mean, we knew that was coming, so I'm not gonna act surprised. I love this part where they have Tara's gang cornered and they just let them reverse and drive away. You can even see one of them firing their gun with the muzzle flash going off, but it doesn't even play a sound. Hey! The cops in pursuit also have these neon visors, making them look like a cyberpunk fan film. Anyway, all of Tara's gang escapes, but to get away, they had to leave the gold behind. Honestly, looking at it, I'm convinced they're just spray-painted bricks. Also, to make the plot even more convoluted, Samar isn't really the king, even though he is.
King, I should be honest with you too. I'm not the real king.
What?
Yeah. No, I mean, I did the burglaries. I just leave the king's name behind so that the cops go after him while I sit back and relax. Cool, eh?
I'm not even sure if the king is a real person at this point. It's just the equivalent of robbing a bank, then leaving a post-it note of some random kid's address saying, they did it, lol. Tara then explains that she actually wanted the gold to be stolen because the cameras inside will show Vibha's corrupt money laundering operation. So essentially, it took over an hour to get into Act 2 of the story. You know, the heist part of the film. The entire point of the film. The selling point. But at the same time, how can I be mad with scene transitions like this?
Rashtrapati Bhavan.
There's a montage where they forge identities and signatures to get into the building on the day. But the most morally questionable action is how Samar wants one of the girls to pose as a Make-A-Wish Foundation volunteer.
Are going to pose as a volunteer from the Last Wish Foundation. The CRPF guards will not allow the two of you inside, because your paperwork will be incomplete.
I mean, I understand she's only a volunteer, not pretending to be a terminally ill person, but, you know, they're the good guys. They wouldn't do that.
But why will he allow them in without the right paperwork?
Because I doubt anyone would have the heart to refuse the last wish of a dying man, right?
Our heroes, everyone. Morally questionable heroes. But, again, like I said, it's only a volunteer.
Is that Pittu?
Oh my god, no, never mind. They're actually going to pretend that he's terminally ill. I like how they get the most jacked guy to do it as well. There's something deeply wrong about this, especially how in the cutaway CGI, he's represented by a wheelchair moving around the building. Tara also goes in disguise, offering people food to distract them enough to get access for the rest of the group. Surprisingly, no hitches here, because something similar happened in Breaking Bad, and that didn't end too well.
Hey.
The group then start releasing rats to confuse everyone, somehow looking worse than Ratatouille on the Nintendo Wii. I also like the drastic difference in reaction from people. Down in the kitchen, they're terrified, but on the upper floor, they act like nothing's wrong, not even acknowledging the rats. They pose as pest control and are given complete and total access through the whole building, which makes the past steps of getting fake IDs completely redundant. But unfortunately, the entire heist was a complete waste of time because they don't get to the money and they nearly get made. That's mostly because if this heist was successful, the film would only be an hour long. God, I wish. Also, this is when the plot twists get, like, so ridiculously confusing. There are, like, double and triple agents here. So, remember that guy that got bitch slapped at the start of the film? He's been working with Tara's gang all along, deleting them from CCTV so there's no trace of them.
What's going on in Miami, bro? No!
And they show this by him, like, bumping into people. Like, that's his only character trait. He's not planting anything on them. He's just bumping into people. They react in the most rational way possible and try to blow his brains out.
Hamid! Don't be stupid, you can't do this! Guards, come here!
After the failed heist, Samar and Tara fall in love, and this starts a Bollywood music video. I mean, yeah, sure, I'm not hating, but it really does just come out of nowhere. You can really feel at this point the writers didn't really know what to do, and they kind of just wanted the film to be over with, to the point where Samar is explaining a follow-up heist, and when he's explaining all the details, it just speeds up the footage without even being able to hear what he's saying.
So now, listen carefully.
They break into the presidential building again, this time under the guise as builders. They know that they're going to get caught on CCTV because their hacker boy's been detained. And the way around this, to trick security, knowing that they're going to be watched, is to keep insanely still to trick them, thinking that the camera feed is glitched out, so they reboot the entire system. And they all do a pretty good job, except this guy, who looks like he's about to burst out crying. Security then turn the cameras off, and I'm not talking about just turning them off and on. No, they have to reboot the entire system and server. And then if this bizarre heist film wasn't enough, they seem to turn it into a horror film with Vibha going into the basement to secure the money and being attacked. She's the villain, by the way. I just want to put that out there.
Vibha, ma'am.
The gang find all the illegally held funds. What happened to Viva? Who cares? Look at these guys riding on segways. Whee! So fun. Oh, by the way, do you guys find the plot confusing? Of course you don't. So let's make it more confusing. The entire heist that you just saw was apparently never Tara's gang, but body doubles. People that look similar. So if they were caught, Tara and her gang could get away. Like, the bad guys trying to explain this, even they sound confused by the writing.
Yeah,
This is
here
her.
she is. This is Tara.
Yes, this is Tara. But this is the girl who did the robbery.
Sir, you know the tire marks you found? They match a car belonging to that girl. The girl's name is Tara, and she's the owner of a local courier company. But there's only two people that she really trusts. One is Bicky, and the other is Bicky's girlfriend, Naina.
Where is that guy? Here. Look at this. This is the guy. This is the guy who took away the most money.
Sir, the new fingerprints sent to us just now by Arjun, they don't seem to match at all. They don't match the prints from the garbage truck and King's card. They belong to someone else.
You've been chasing the wrong people from the start.
What? Honestly, I have zero idea what's going on now. It's probably easier to try and connect every Final Fantasy game together.
Get help.
Okay, so the actual gang, as in Tara's gang with Samar, try to escape on a plane and get out of the country. They nearly get caught by police, but oh no, a wire fence, my greatest foe. There's no way a car traveling 80 miles an hour could break through that steel fence. We'll just have to let them get away now. The thing is, this film is contrived, and there are so many plot points that don't make sense, so many double crosses and triple crosses, but you kind of all just let that melt away when you're shown scenes like this.
Hey, what's with the pepe? You wanna fly over me?
Just a reminder that the film had a budget of $4 million, which, to be fair, is minuscule compared to Hollywood. But this? You go onto YouTube and you see 17-year-olds producing better visuals than this. Oh yeah, what else is there? You're probably wondering who the real king was, if Samar was just pretending. Well, it was Tara. Tara was robbing from herself the entire time to make people think that she wasn't the king. All right?
You pulled off all those heists and left the king's name behind. That's my name you left behind.
So Tara leaves Samar behind to get arrested because he exposed her as the king on accident. He gets hauled away while Tara leaves on a green screen pretending to be a runway. Okay, that's it, right? Surely there can't be anything else. Please. Now, in the final scene, Tara ends up in London to rob another bank vault and is led through security to see the vault please, God, don't do another exposition dump with chromatic apparatus. Don't do it, man. I beg, don't.
I deliberately left my iPad open so that you could see it all. I had complete confidence in the fact that you were going to deceive me. There's a bank in London.
And then one of the bad guys is now Samar's boss. Guys, I was joking. Please stop. Please. Anyway, they walk into a CGI vault to steal all the money together. I guess they're friends now. Movie over. Honestly, Drive 2019 is one of the most confusing films I have ever watched. The amount of plot twists and double crosses and characters becoming good, then becoming bad, then becoming good again, it is so hard to follow, especially the fact that it's a non-native English film. All that being said, is it the worst film of all time? Yeah, all right, yeah, it probably is, writing-wise, but it is pretty funny. If you got some mates together to watch this film, honestly, I think you'd have a good time. So that's why I'm giving Drive a 4 out of 10 and Drive 2011 a 1 out of 10, because Ryan Gosling be like, I'm so sad. I'm going to drive because I'm really sad. Oh my God, guys, he's literally me.